Hi friends, it's Chris Angel coming at you for another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. Tonight we're talking about working less. Tonight, and let me say, side note, I almost didn't make this video tonight. I was feeling pretty checked out today. It is Saturday at the time of this recording. And I was feeling like I took a nap today. I don't know what it was. I just felt like I didn't want to do anything really. And that's interesting, right? Because I think that's a lot of times we can get ourselves into those positions. And I noticed myself, making myself wrong for not wanting to make the video. And I could feel my energy as that was happening ratcheting up, right? Like, you got to figure this out. Like, let's go, like make a video, figure it out. And I think that's not uncommon when we have set goals or intentions, we've made commitments. It's easy to start to get worried, anxious, nervous when you are on the hook for the thing you said you'd do. Interestingly, I didn't go to work on it, right? I mean, this is a nice tie-in or segue then into this post, but I didn't just go to work on it and make myself busy, which I think a lot of times is what we do. We say we want to work less, but when it comes time to actually not working, that is unnerving for us. It's unnerving to sit back and take a nap or not do the things we said we'd do because we're then afraid that we're going to get further behind, right? Or not produce the result. So it is interesting that I didn't know how to fix that. I just sat back, I took a nap, I got up, I had some dinner. My wife and my daughter are out shopping. My son's at homecoming. And so I had the house to myself, and I listened to some music. I watched a couple of YouTube videos, a couple of movie trailers, and then I started reading. I started reading a book. It's been a book I've had a hard time getting through, just because it's deep. It's a deep book, so it's hard to read a page or two, more than a page or two, because it's just so deep. I have to set it down and think about it. Well, tonight I read another page or two, but it sparked something for me, right? I thought, like, it was just talking a lot about the BS of goal setting. Well, maybe it's more, it talks about setting goals from what it is that we want to feel. The book's called The Desire Map, by Danielle Laporte. But it's just talking about having, maybe in my words, heart-centered goals. Like, how do you want to feel? And let's build actions around the ways we want to feel. And it was during my couple pages tonight that I remember she was talking about not having to force it. And I remember years ago when I was a CEO, I went to a conference, and at this conference, the speaker had said, work less and work inside your unique abilities. And I remember there was a moment, one of those moments in life, you don't get many of them, but there was this moment where everything in that moment came to a stop. The clouds parted, the angels sang, and what I was left with was, you need to go work inside your unique abilities, and you need to work less. And it was in that moment, that night, in fact, that I created a transition plan out of that role as CEO and into business coach. What I wanted to do, and what I've always wanted to do, is coach and speak. Those two things I love. I love it. Every day I do those feels like a win. Every day I get to speak, and every day I get to coach feels like a win. I love it. The feeling of it is amazing. So 2011, I built my coaching company. And ever since then, I have had a lot of margin in my schedule on purpose, right? And some years have been lean, but I didn't compromise the margin in my schedule, right? Like, you could have a lean year and be like, oh my gosh, I got to go hustle and work 80 hours a week or whatever. And I was unwilling to compromise the inspiration that led me to that decision to start my own coaching company, which was work less and work inside your unique abilities. Then there were fat years, not lean years, fat years. And I still managed to, it's easy when things start to ramp up to get sucked into the vortex of all of the excitement of it, and then you lose margin. But in all of it, I've been very disciplined about, or very intentional, maybe is a better word, about keeping the space in my schedule and not working myself to the bone, because what I've wanted all along is to have this space in my schedule, in my life, to contemplate life, to be with my thoughts, to think about where I want to go. And all of that is in the space of, or was inspired by, this person that said, you need to work less. You need to work less. It's very interesting. That person was the CEO of a large national company at the time, international company at the time. And they said, work less. Interesting, right? We don't often think of success or successful people as people who work less. It was a paradigm shift for me. It really challenged my thinking about what success could look like. Could I be successful? Could I be wealthy? Could I be abundant? Could I be happy and not work all the time? And that's what I set out to do. And that's where I still am today, right? As I ebb and flow through the different paths of my creation here, what I keep holding to is working less. Side note, one of the things that there was this thought years ago that I had where it was how you build your business, the methods you use to build your business will impact what your schedule looks like, right? So if you build your business on hustle and grind and cold calling and 80-hour weeks, then when that's the energy that built your business, you're going to have the same energy to sustain it, or you're going to have to completely reinvent yourself. And that's tough, right? If you build a business on 80-hour weeks with hustle and grind, then to reinvent that to something else is going to be tough. But if you build your business with the hours you're willing to give it, maybe it's 20 hours, 30 hours, I don't know what it is for you, but you say, this is what I'm willing to give it. And then you're squeezed by it, but I need to grow the business. You're now having to think differently about the methods of growth that don't encroach on the space in your schedule. Does that make sense? So in other words, you're going to have to be creative and find ways to scale your revenue, scale your impact, scale your message, scale your tribe that doesn't require lots of hours. And this was my aha moment a couple years into my coaching business, was that digital marketing, content marketing, I was a person who would travel to teach. And when I would travel to teach, that's typically how I built my business. I would find people who wanted to work with me because they were inspired by what I said. But that was time intensive. There was less margin in that. So I decided, this was 2012, maybe 13, I created a podcast. That was my first podcast. Still up today, right? On Apple Podcasts. And I created that podcast because I knew that if I was going to grow my business but not have to use a ton of hours, I would need to be able to reach a lot of people in a short amount of time. The cool thing about a podcast or a show is that I can record it, right? I can record it now, and this show might be 10 to 15 minutes long, this episode, right? But now it lives on in perpetuity, and people can find me long after I've recorded this. You might be listening to this, I don't know, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. I don't know. But somehow, right, like my message lives on. And now I can use other things like advertising and other things to help people find my message, to help my tribe find my message. But I knew that content marketing, digital marketing was going to be the thing that allowed me to reach more people without having to use a lot more time. So we can wrap with this. If you also have the desire less to build a lifestyle business, to build impact in the world, to create the life of your dreams, but you don't want to have to hustle and grind to do it, then marketing is going to be one of those things for you that can leverage your time, right? You can, and the better you get at it, the more leverage you get. So the place that always starts, for me anyway, is with your message. Until you know what your message is in your marketing, you can spend not much time, but your message won't move people. So you have to start to figure out what your message is. And if you'd like help with that, I have a course. It's called Marketing for the Rest of Us, the course. You can get it at groundswellmethod.com. groundswellmethod.com, and it is 5 videos, just over 90 minutes. And it gets you on the path to how do you start to find the message that you inevitably can leverage to work less in your life and make the kind of life and impact and income that you want. Okay? Thanks for hanging out with me tonight in this episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us, and until tomorrow, see ya.